Hello, and welcome to the Murder House Radio Show. I'm your host, X. On this show, we will be covering serial killers, mass shooters, disappearances, true crime, and the most deplorable things and people in history. All that good dark stuff. The Murder House Radio Show will be a radio show / podcast. I'll be uploading videos every Friday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Once you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification and select all if you are viewing on YouTube. And hit follow if you are listening on a podcasting platform. So sit down, get comfortable, grab some coffee or whatever your preferred beverage is, turn off the lights, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, how's it going? How is your second week of the month? How was it? How is your Friday going? I hope it's going good. When I'm recording this, it's going pretty good, my day so far. But if your day wasn't good, I hope this makes it a little bit better. But yeah. If you wish to ask for some advice to be covered at the end of the podcast / broadcast, the podcast email will be in the description, as well as the sources for today's video. But yeah, leave how you're feeling down in the comments below, and let's dive in to today's video. Today's video will be on Katherine Knight. Her name is Katherine Mary Knight, and she was born on the 24th of October, 1955, and she is still alive today. She is Australia's first woman to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. Interesting. She was convicted for the murder of her partner, so like her husband or boyfriend or whatnot, John Charles Thomas Prince, in February 2000. And she is currently in prison at the Silverwater Women's Correctional Center in New South Wales. Interesting. She stabbed Prince to death, skinned him, then put his skin on a meat hook and cooked his head and parts of his body with the intentions of feeding them to his children. That's fucked up. But she had 4 kids, so I'm guessing this was her husband. So she had 2 husbands or 2 partners or whatnot. Fair enough. But that's the little rundown on who this woman is. And this is the first woman cannibal I've covered on this podcast, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, let's get in deeper into who this woman is. So her early life, she was raised in an unconventional and dysfunctional family environment. Her mother, Barbara Rogan, Roughan, Roughan, was married to Jack and lived with him in the small town of Albany in New South Wales, Hunter Valley. Barbara and Jack had 4 sons before Barbara began an adolescent relationship with Ken Knight. Okay, fair enough. A friend and co-worker of her husband. Okay. Oh, so she was like cheating or some shit. So the original husband and Knight families were well known in the conservative rural town, and the affair caused a major scandal. Oof, scandalous. So a local backlash forced Barbara and Ken to leave Albany and moved to Moree. None of her 4 sons went with her. The 2 older boys continued to live with their dad, while the 2 younger sons were sent to be raised by their Aunt Cindy. And Barbara had 4 additional children with Ken, so this woman had 8 kids. Jesus Christ. And this included twin girls born in 1955 in Tenterfield. And this was Katherine Knight, was the youngest of these twin daughters, okay? And then in 1959, when Knight was 4 years old, when Katherine was 4, Jack died, and his 2 boys who had been living with him moved in with Barbara, who was their mom, and Ken, fair enough. Knight's father was an alcoholic who openly used violence and intimidation to rape his wife Barbara. Jeez. Up to 10 times a day. Jesus Christ. That's fucked up, bro. So a real fucked up childhood and upbringing. Barbara, in turn, often told her daughters intimate details of her sex life and how much she hated sex and men. Oof. Later, when Catherine complained to her mother that one of her partners had wanted her to take part in sex acts she did not want to perform, Barbara told her to put up with it and stop complaining. Oof, that's not good motherly advice. Jesus Christ. Catherine claimed she was frequently sexually assaulted by several members of her family, though not by her father, which continued until she was 11. Although there are doubts about the details, psychiatrists accept her claims, and the events have been largely confirmed by members of her family. That's fucking sad, Jesus Christ. It's messed up, bro. Messed up. It's kind of like, Ali and Warnos, I believe. Kind of similar-ish. But, Catherine's father, I said that already. Barbara's great-grandmother was an indigenous Australian from Moree area who had married an Irishman, and Barbara was proud of this fact and identified as Aboriginal. This was kept a family secret. Yeah, the Aboriginals weren't treated too good in Australia. Same around the whole world, though. For them that I know of. Same here in Canada and in America. But yes, that was kept a family secret as there was considerable racism in the area at the time towards the Aboriginals, and this was a source of tension for the children, I bet. Apart from her twin sister, the only person who Knight was close to was her uncle, Oscar Knight, who was a champion horseman. Interesting. She was devastated when he committed suicide in 1969 and continues to maintain that his ghost visits her. Okay, fair enough. The family moved back to Arbery the same year. Okay. So she went to Muswell Brook High School, and she became a loner and is remembered by classmates as a bully who stood over small children. She assaulted at least one boy at school with a weapon and was once injured by a teacher who was subsequently found to have acted in self-defense. Jeez. By contrast, when not in a rage, Knight was a model student and often earned awards for her good behavior. Interesting. Those are 2 parallels. But she left high school at 15 without having learned to read or write. Jeez. She gained employment as a cutter in a clothing factory, and 12 months later, she left to start what she referred to as her dream job, cutting up offal at a local abattoir. What's this? A slaughterhouse. So she was cutting meat at a slaughterhouse, basically. Word. Why do they have to use all these fancy words, bro? Use normal ass fucking words. There she was quickly promoted to Bonning and was given her own set of butcher's knives. Interesting. At home, these knives were hung over her bed so that they would always be handy if I needed them. Holy, so I guess that's a quote. A habit she continued until her incarceration, or everywhere she lived. Okay. So she was handy with knives because she was a butcher. So there is that. And that makes sense on how she was able to cut up her husband, skin him and shit, and cook him and all that stuff because work experience. I'm pretty sure Roy DeMeo was a butcher too, and he would cut up bodies and shit too in his Gemini lounge. But that's a whole other thing we can get into on a later episode. That's a whole other episode in itself. Holy. But Catherine first met her husband, David Kettle. This is like her first husband, I think. Drinking with a coworker, David Stanford Kettle. So they were drinking together in 1973, and Kettle had previously worked for a railway at Coffs Harbor. His best friend was killed in front of him in a shunting accident. Shunting. What's shunting? Cunt. Shunting in railway operations is the process of storing items of rolling stock into complete trains, or the reverse. Okay, fair enough. So he's killed in an accident on the job site. Word. He was later presented with a train hit school bus. Jeez. In Kempsby, killing 6 children. In 1968, he helped rescue the injured and removed their bodies. Okay. So I guess it happened in 1968 when the train hit the school bus, and he helped move the bodies and shit and rescue the kids. Fucking PTSD is real with this one. Jesus. His heavy drinking has been attributed to these accidents. Yeah, PTSD, bro. He was transferred to Muswellbrook after causing several derailments due to falling asleep while shunting. Word. So he was moved because he fell asleep on the job while doing what accidentally killed his best friend. But his behavior deteriorated, and he eventually lost his job, but he soon got work at a nearby Arbonery abattoir, where he became close friends with Knight's brother. So like a butcher shop, word, or a slaughterhouse, or whatever the fuck. But interesting stuff, my dudes. But yes, if you don't know, your boy fucking doesn't suck at reading, because I have a whole other channel where I do narrations. Sometimes I just can't fucking talk. But yeah, it'd be like that. Fucking be like that sometimes. I promise I'm not fucking dumb though. I know how to fucking read, obviously. But after he began dating Knight, he also occasionally partnered her twin. Okay. Often, if Kelt got into a fight with Knight, he would step in and back him up with her fists. Oh, okay. If Kelt got into a fight. Oh shit, so she would, if they got into a bar fight, some Bonnie and Clyde shit, bro. You're like, you wanna mess with my dude, bro? And they just fucking fought together, bro. In Arbonery, she was well known for physically threatening anyone who upset her. And they married in 1974 at her request, so she asked him to marry. Oh, okay. With the couple arriving at the service on her motorcycle with a very intoxicated So they rolled up to the wedding. She asked him to on her motorcycle. So she drove him to the wedding on the motorcycle while he was fucking shit faced. As soon as they arrived, Knight's mother, Barbara, gave the husband some advice. The old girl, Knight's mother, said to me to watch out. You better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. Stir her up the wrong way or do the wrong thing and you're fucked. Don't ever think of playing up on her, cheating on her. She'll fucking kill you. And that was her mother's talking. And that was her mother talking. She told me she got something loose. She's got a screw loose somewhere. Well, god damn. That's fucking wild, especially coming from the fucking girl's mom. Holy shit. On their wedding night, Katherine tried to strangle Kellett, the husband. She later explained it was because he fell asleep after only having intercourse 3 times. Holy fuck. The marriage proved particularly violent, and on no one occasion, a heavily pregnant Knight burned all of Kettle's clothing and shoes before hitting him across the back of the head with a frying pan, simply because he arrived home late from a darts competition after reaching the finals. Well, so she was an abusive cunt, and this was fucking reverse, well, not even reverse domestic violence, because domestic violence goes both ways. So gentlemen, if you're ever in a domestic violence situation, be brave, leave, tell someone, call the cops, press them charges, bro, or smack the fuck out of that bitch. Just kidding, don't do that, but yeah, fucking call the cops, get out of there, because, you know, domestic violence is never good. But in fear for his life, Kellett fled before collapsing in a neighbor's house, and he was later treated for a severely fractured skull. Police wanted to charge Knight, but she changed her behavior to ingratiating Kellett and talking him into dropping the charges. So she was being all lovey-dovey, blah, 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 and talked him into dropping the charges. Word. But, yeah, sometimes when I read, I sound like a fucking dumbass and can't pronounce some shit. It just fucking be like that sometimes. Y'all feel me. I know you do sometimes. Everybody got their moments. when I read, the part where she tried to strangle him because he only went 3 rounds of fucking with her. Fucking meme video popped in my head. Oh no, I'm a virgin. Please don't. The old man getting fucking kissed up on by the fucking young lady. That's what popped in my fucking head. I don't know why. Oh, fucking around. Holy shit. But, yes, in May 1976, shortly after the birth of their first child, Melissa Ann, Kellett left her for another woman and moved to Queensland, apparently unable to cope with Knight's abuse. Well, fucking good, at least he left. Holy shite. The next day, Knight was seen pushing her new baby in a pram, so a stroller, down the main street, violently throwing the pram from side to side. Oh, Jesus. She was admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital in Tamworth, where she was diagnosed as postnatal depression and spent several weeks recovering. After being released, Knight's placed 2-month-old Melissa on a railway line shortly before a train was due. Jesus. So she tried to murder her child, basically. She then stole an axe, went into town, and threatened to kill several people. A man known in the district as Old Ted, who is foraging near the railway line, found and rescued Melissa, by all accounts only minutes before the train passed. Knight was arrested again, taken to St. Elmo's Hospital, but apparently she recovered and signed herself out the following day. Jesus Christ, how the fuck does that work? She tried to murder her newborn baby. Lock that bitch up right there, man. Fuck. And then a few days later, she slashed the face of a woman with one of her knives and demanded she drive her to Queensland to find Kellett. The woman escaped after they stopped at a service station, but by the time police arrived, Knight had taken the young boy hostage and was threatening him with the knife. She was disarmed when police attacked her. Police attacked her with brooms and was admitted to another psychiatric hospital. Well, shit. Knight told a nurse that she intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired Kellett's car. Holy fuck. He was just doing his job, bro. Holy fuck. Which had allowed him to leave and then kill both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland. Well, damn, the police informed Kellett of the incident. He left his girlfriend and moved to Albany with his mother to support Knight. Well, shit. Why the fuck would he go back? Holy shit. Fucking pussy whipped ass dude. Just kidding. But, yeah, that's fucking, wild. But she was released on the 9th of August 1976 into the care of her mother-in-law along with Kellett, and they moved to Ipswich, a city west of Brisbane, where she obtained a job as a Dynamore Meatworks. A job at Dymore's Meatworks, word. So on the 6th of March 1983, they had another daughter, Natasha Marie, and in 1984, Knight left Kellett and moved first to her parents' house in Arbury, then to a rented house in nearby Muswell Brook. Oh. Although she returned to work at the slaughterhouse or whatever, she injured her back the following year and went on disability pension, no longer needing to rent accommodation close to her work. The government gave her a housing commission residence in Albury, so the government paid for her house then, maybe? Okay, so she had three other relationships. I'm guessing they were all abusive. The first one here is David Sunder, Saturners. John Shillingworth and John Prince. I'm guessing they were all relatively short and shit, but yeah. Police unjustly told them she was afraid of him. So I think yeah, they're probably all dysfunctional and abusive. They met David dude was 38 years old, and she met him in 1986 after a few months later he moved in with her and her daughters, although he kept his old apartment, okay? Knight became jealous regarding what he did when she was not around. It would often throw him out. Okay, word. So, her usual antics. He would move back to his apartment and she would inevitably follow and beg him to return. She cut the throat of his 2-month-old dingo pup in front of him. That fucking cunt. Animal abuser. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. For no more reason than an example of what would happen if he ever had an affair, before going to knock him unconscious with a frying pan. Jesus! This bitch likes hitting people with frying pans. God damn. And then in June 1988, she gave birth to a third daughter, Sarah, which prompted David to put a deposit on a house. Okay, and Knight paid off the deposit when her workers' compensation came through in 1989. She decorated the house throughout with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, old boots, machetes, rakes, and pitchforks. No space, including the ceiling, was left uncovered. Jesus Christ. So, after an argument one day, she hit David in the face with an iron before stabbing him in the stomach with a pair of scissors. And then he moved back, like he moved or whatever. And, he was like, yeah, fuck that bitch. And, returned to... And she wouldn't let him see his daughter. Well, damn. So he tried to return to see his daughter and found Knight had gone to the police and unjustly told them she was afraid of him. They issued her an affidavit of violence order against him. That conniving bitch. Holy shit. And John Shillingwood. In 1997, Knight became pregnant by 43-year-old former slaughterhouse co-worker John Shillingwood and gave birth the following year to a boy they named Eric. Their relationship lasted 3 years before she left him for a man she had been having an affair with for some time, John Prince. So there is that. And John Prince is the one she murdered. So, here's a little rundown on their relationship. So, here's a rundown on John Prince, I guess you could say. So, John Charles Prince was born April 4th, 1955, same year as, Katherine. He was the father of 3 children when Knight had an affair with him, and reputedly traffic bloke, liked by everybody who knew him. Okay, so a likable dude. His own marriage had ended in 1988, while his 2-year-old daughter had remained with his former wife. The 2 older children lived with him. Makes sense. Prince was well aware of Catherine's violent reputation as she moved into his house in 1995. That's a fucking red flag, bro. His children liked her. He was making a lot of money working in the local mines, and apart from violent arguments, at first, life was a bunch of roses. Yeah, apart from violent arguments, bro. Fucking figure it out, man. Holy shit. Yeah, I kind of know how this feels. Like, not like the physical abuse or anything like that, but I've definitely been with women and put up with some shit I shouldn't have. Pussy is a powerful thing. But, yes. In 1998, Katherine and Prince fought over his refusal to marry her. In retaliation, she videotaped items he had allegedly stolen from work and sent the tapes to his boss. Oh, what a cunt move. Although the items were out-of-date medical kits that he had scavenged from the company rubbish bins. Okay, Prince was fired from the job he had held for 17 years, as his boss had no choice. Damn. That same day, he kicked her out, and she returned to her own home, while news of what she had done spread throughout the town. She is a cunt. Holy fuck. A few months later, Prince restarted the relationship. Although he now refused to allow her to move in with him, the fighting became even more frequent, and most of his friends would no longer have anything to do with him while they remained together. I know how that be. I know how that be exactly. Fuck, yeah. You have everybody got that one friend or friends who get together with somebody and they're just toxic as fuck when they're together. They end up cutting everybody off, blah 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 blah. Or you have to cut them off because they're toxic. And then they break up, you're cool for like a fucking few more months or whatever, and they get back together, bro, and it's like, what the fuck? So, on February 2000, there was a bunch of assaults on Prince, her boyfriend or whatever. Um, and this all led up to Knight stabbing him in the chest. And finally, fed up, he kicked her out of his house. Good. On February 29th, he stopped at the Scone. He stopped at court on his way to work and took out a restraining order in an attempt to keep her away from both himself and his children. Okay. That afternoon, Prince told his co-workers that if he did not come to work the next day, it would be because Knight had murdered him. Holy fuck. Despite their pleas that Prince should not return home, he stated that he was afraid Knight would kill his children if he did not. Call the fucking police, bro. Holy shit. But, yeah, so there is that. Imagine how chilling that would be, too. Like, hey, if I don't come back to work tomorrow, my girlfriend probably fucking killed me. Well, don't go home, bro. If I don't, she's probably gonna kill my kids. Oh, fuck. But, Prince arrived home to find that Knight, although not there herself, had sent the children away for a sleepover at a friend's house. He then spent the evening with his neighbors before returning home and going to bed at 11 p.m. Earlier that day, Knight had bought new black lingerie and had videotaped all her children while making comments which have since been interpreted as crude will. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. Was she wearing the lingerie while videotaping the kids and making mean comments, or was she just berating the kids in normal clothes being a cunt? I am confused. But she later arrived at Prince's house while he was sleeping and sat watching television for a few minutes before having a shower. She then woke Prince and they had sex, after which he fell asleep. Okay. And then at 6 a.m. the next day, the neighbors became concerned that Prince's car was still in the driveway, and when he did not arrive to work, his employer sent a worker to see what was wrong. Both the neighbor and the worker tried knocking on the Prince's bedroom window to wake him, but they alerted police after noticing blood on the floor. Police arrived at 8 a.m. Breaking down the back door, police found Prince's body with Knight comatose from taking a large number of sleeping pills. So she tried to kill herself, maybe? Okay. She had stabbed Prince with a butcher's knife while he was sleeping. According to the blood evidence, he awoke and tried to turn the light on before attempting to escape while Knight chased him through the house. He managed to open the front door and get outside, but he either stumbled back inside or was dragged back into the hallway, where he finally died after bleeding out. Later, Catherine went into Auburnery and withdrew $1,000 from Prince's account at an ATM, and Prince's autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed at least 37 times in both the front and back of his body. Holy fuck. With many of the wounds extending into vital organs. Jesus. This bitch is crazy. What dudes sound like when they say they want a crazy girl. But several hours after Prince had died, Knight skinned him and hung his skin from a meat hook on the um door frame to the lounge room or whatnot. She then decapitated Prince and cooked parts of his body, serving up the meat with baked potatoes, pumpkin, beetroot, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy in 2 sittings at the family table. I mean, that sounds good, just minus the fucking human meat. um, Put that in with a nice steak or a roast, though. That is non-human. That sounds like a good-ass fucking meal, though. Like, bro. But, along with notes beside each plate, each having their name of one of Prince's children on it, she was preparing to serve his body parts to the children. The third meal was thrown on the back lawn for unknown reasons. And it is speculated that Knight had attempted to eat it but could not. Okay, this has been put forward in support of her claim that she had no memory of the crime. Well, I mean, if she took a fuckload of sleeping pills, I don't know. Depends when she took them. But you know. So, Prince's head was found in a pot with vegetables. The pot was still warm, estimated to be between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius, which is 104 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit, and indicating that the cooking had taken place in the early morning. Okay. Sometime later, Catherine arranged the body with the left arm draped over an empty 1.25-liter soft drink bottle with the legs crossed. Okay. This was claimed in court to be an act of defilement demonstrating Catherine's contempt for Prince. Catherine had left a handwritten note on top of a photograph of Prince. On top of a photograph of Prince, blood-stained and covered with small pieces of flesh. It read, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. You to Beck, Prince's daughter, for Rose, for little John, his son. Now play with little John's dick, John Prick." Holy fuck. Okay then, so there is that. The accusations in the note were found to be groundless. Okay. So maybe she, maybe that note was her trying to justify it. Like, hey, he raped the kids or whatever, and fucking, I killed them. But why'd you try to feed them to the kids, though? That makes no sense. But maybe that was her, failed attempt to, fucking justify it. I don't fucking know. Alright, so at her trial, she tried to, plead guilty to manslaughter, but that was shot the fuck down because, it wasn't manslaughter, obviously. And she was arraigned on the 2nd of March, 2001, on the charge of murdering Prince, to which she entered a plea of not guilty. Her trial was initially fixed for the 23rd of July, 2001, but it was adjourned due to her counsel's illness, and it was refixed for the 15th of October, 2001. Okay. So when the trial started, they actually offered 60 jury prospects the opportunity to be excused due to the nature of the photographic evidence, so the crime scene photos, which 5 accepted. Well, shit. And then when the witness list was read out to the prospects. Several more also dropped out, after which the jury was inept. Okay. So, Catherine's attorneys then spoke to the judge, who adjourned to the following day. The next morning, Catherine changed her plea to guilty, and the jury was dismissed. It was then made public that Justice had been advised to plead to what? Advised to the plea change the day before. Okay. He had adjourned the trial and then ordered the psychiatric assessment overnight to determine if Catherine understood the consequences of a guilty plea and was fit to make such a plea. Catherine's legal team had planned to defend Catherine by claiming amnesia and dissociation, a claim supported by most psychiatrists, although they did consider her sane. So like a psychiatric break kind of deal, maybe. Two psychiatrists concluded that Catherine suffered from borderline personality disorder. Interesting. So she never gave any reasons for the guilty plea, and despite giving it or whatnot, Catherine still refused to accept responsibility for her actions. Okay. So when the sentencing hearing went down, Catherine's lawyers requested that she be executed to avoid hearing some of the excused to avoid hearing some of the facts. I was like, executed? That makes no fucking sense. I'm fucking dumb. But the application was refused. When Timothy Loynes, Lyons, took the stand and described the skinning and decapitation, Catherine became hysterical and had to be sedated. Holy shit, okay. And then on November the 8th, the judge, I'm guessing, or whoever the fuck this person is, pointed out that the nature of the crime and Catherine's lack of remorse required a severe penalty. He sentenced her to life in prison, refused fix of non-parole period, okay, and ordered that her papers be marked never to be released. The first time this had been imposed on a woman in Australian history, like I mentioned earlier. And then on June 2006, Catherine appealed the life sentence, claiming that a penalty of life in prison without possibility of parole was too severe for the killing. I don't fucking think so, man. Not in this case. So, Justice Peter McNally, Michael Adams, and Megan Latham dismissed the appeal in the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeals in September, with Justice McClan writing in his judgment, "This was an appalling crime, almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society." Well, shit, it is a brutal crime. You got that fucking right. You goddamn got that right. It's pretty fucked up, bro. Pretty fucked up. I'm pretty sure if she was in America or somewhere with the death penalty, holy fuck. I can't talk today, boys. But yeah, or somewhere with the death penalty, she would have gotten death, hands down. Hands fucking down, boys. But yeah, leave your thoughts on this case down in the comments below. And yeah, all that stuff. Let me see if there are any emails for this episode or whatever. There are not any, sadly. Oh, I got the first email, boys. Hold on. I got a little excited there, but it wasn't a request for advice. It was just some other thing or whatever. But yeah, no advice for this episode, sadly. Fucking sad. Just kidding, I don't give a fuck. But one day maybe, one day people may come to me for some advice. But so that is Katherine Knight. Thank you for listening to this episode on the Murder House Radio Show. I hope you have a good rest of your Friday or whenever you are listening to this. Check out the social medias and the sources in the description below. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Once you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification and select all to get all notifications if you are listening on YouTube. If you are listening on a podcasting platform, hit follow. Leave your suggestions for future episodes in the comments. See you next episode. This is your host X, signing off.